If you're new here, or even if you've been listening to us for a while, you might not know our full story. It's been over 2.5 years since we've published our introductory podcast episode. So today we're sharing who we are, how we got here, and where we're going next. Welcome to Stoked, the podcast that helps adventure elopement photographers hit six figures and beyond in their businesses without hustling on social media. I'm your host, Megan McPhail, a former burnt-out emergency veterinarian that quit my hard-earned career to become an elopement photographer. Now I'm living a life I absolutely love, full of travel, adventure, and financial abundance, and I am hell-bent on helping you do the same. Are you ready to start booking out your calendar with dream couples in breathtaking locations and feeling genuinely stoked about your elopement photography business, life, and bank account? Then let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, it's your host, Megan McPhail.
And your co-host, Todd Reedy.
And we decided, since it's been 2.5 years, almost exactly since we started this podcast, that we are going to basically reintroduce ourselves and our story. And I'll be honest, the very first episode we ever did was an introduction to us and our story. And I don't remember what we said. I can't remember. So I don't know if you listeners, when you find a podcast, do you go back to the first episode? I don't know. But yeah, we're going to tell our story again because I think it's important. And we're going to talk about where we're going from here and how the podcast has evolved. And I'm really excited.
Yeah, let's go.
So Todd and I we both have really interesting backstories. We both pursued higher education to the max. So I became an emergency veterinarian. I became a doctor when I was 26 years old, which I'm really proud of. Well, I was really proud of that. I thought it was really cool that I was a 26-year-old doctor. I did a lot of surgeries. I did a lot of emergency medicine. So I was really in the thick of some really crazy stuff. And I was really proud of that for a long time. But there was something that just drew me to photography my whole life. My grandfather was into photography. My dad was into photography. I inherited some film cameras from them. And I was just always the person who was kind of documenting things and taking photos. And in college, that was drunk nights at the bars that we would post on Facebook because I'm an elder millennial. So, that's what we did.
And we had albums.
Oh, yeah. We would have albums named after a song lyric or something from the night. And it would just be the most ridiculous photos you could think of. As soon as you pulled out that little point and shoot digital camera, people hammed it up for that camera, So that was fun. That was a long time ago. That was the early 2000s. But yeah, I was always the person who kind of documented things, and that evolved into photography of my pets. My story isn't really that exciting as far as how I really got into photography. I got my first DSLR camera on a trip to Colorado because I was applying for a surgery residency. And I looked at the map and I was like, wow, I'm really close to Rocky Mountain National Park because I was applying for the position in Boulder. And I didn't get it, but it was right next to a Best Buy, so I bought my camera, and right afterwards, I headed into Rocky Mountain National Park. It was winter or something, so I wasn't able to do that much stuff, but I got this camera, and kind of the rest is history. I did end up in Colorado eventually to be an emergency vet. At that time, where was I living? I think I was living in Florida. Yeah, and then I moved to Santa Fe, and then I moved to Colorado, so I've been all over the place. But eventually I quit. And we'll talk about that later because I want to talk about Todd's backstory because he's a rocket scientist.
Yeah, once upon a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar to Megan, I pursued higher education. So I was an engineer, and I kind of watched my dad be an engineer. So that was kind of my path from the beginning. I was good at math and science. And so, yeah, after many, many years of schooling, I had a PhD in mechanical engineering. And that's what brought me back out to the West, to New Mexico specifically. And yeah, so I was an engineer working on rockets and weapons and all kinds of craziness here in New Mexico. So that first career lasted, I don't know, probably 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met Megan on a dating app.
Yeah.
And my life got flipped upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. So I quit being an emergency vet in 2018 because my elopement photography business was taking off. I worked as an emergency vet for 2 years as I was building my business. I worked basically 60-hour weeks, and I would flip-flop shifts between overnights and weekends and day shifts and swing shifts and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, if anyone says they don't have enough time to build their business, I call bullshit because if anyone didn't have enough time, it was me. If anyone had excuses, it was me. And I still made it happen because I was so motivated to get out of my career. It was just crushing my spirit and my soul. I was crying all the time. I worked literally my whole life to become an emergency veterinarian. You know, I started working in an animal hospital when I was 14 years old. So this was my dream forever. In third grade, I told my teacher I wanted to be a veterinarian. So this was like a lifelong accomplishment that I just couldn't take anymore. So I quit in 2018. In 2019, I lived on the road in a 20-year-old camper that I had renovated, and I went from like elopement to elopement or adventure session to adventure session, and I burnt out from that. So in 2020, I did a really scary thing and I moved to Albuquerque because my parents live in New Mexico. I was actually born in New Mexico. I've bounced all over the place, but I finally made my way back to New Mexico. I moved to Albuquerque specifically because I wanted a social life. And I went on the dating apps. And I think 2 months after I moved down there, I met Todd, the rocket scientist, the PhD, who went to the University of Illinois for grad school. And I went to the University of Illinois for undergrad. So we had that in common.
We didn't overlap. Like there was like a year or two in between. So
Yeah.
like,
We weren't there at the same time.
yeah.
But I still was like, oh my God, this guy in Albuquerque that went to U of I and he has a PhD. He's a doctor like me. Oh my gosh.
And I had a similar story. I saw her on the Bumble, and she, like, her picture was her at the Sears Tower. And so it said, yeah, University of Illinois. And yeah, like, I like the Midwestern girls. So,
Yep.
yep.
And I mean, I grew up in Chicago as I've bounced all over the place, mainly because of education and jobs and stuff like that. But yeah, so I am kind of a Midwestern girl down deep, even though I was born in New Mexico and I've ended up out here. So yeah, so we got together literally the weekend before COVID hit. So every date we had after the first one was like in parks. I had to cancel a big trip to Spain and Portugal that I had planned for just around that time because it was like the epicenter of COVID. And it was really great because, I mean, COVID sucked, but we had a lot of time to get to know each other. And, you know, for months, all of my elopements and stuff had been postponed or canceled. So I just kind of got to hang out. But Todd was working on classified stuff. So he had to actually go into the office every day and got disillusioned with work very quickly while I'm just like hanging out, sunbathing during the day, riding my bike, just waiting for him to get off work. Essentially, he was dealing with management that didn't know what they were doing. And
It was a crazy time, right?
Yeah.
No one knew what was going on. Like,
mhm.
I mean, I have a rudimentary knowledge of biology.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm sure my employers didn't either. And at this time, so Megan like was a full-on elopement photographer, Hazel and Lace. I was working my engineering job. And yeah, like Megan said, I got disillusioned. And she really showed me, like, kind of gave me the permission slip, if you will, of like, oh yeah, you can change your life because you want to. I had kind of grown up. I had saw my dad like work his whole career being an engineer, mostly for the same company. He changed in his like last couple of years before retirement, but that's kind of what I assumed. I would go to school, become an engineer, and work an engineering job forever. But then here comes Megan saying like she did this vet route, hated it, and pivoted to something brand new to be an entrepreneur. And I thought that was really cool. Obviously, she won me over and I fell in love. But then also like fell in love with the idea of switching it up drastically to, I don't know, have a more fun and better life.
Yeah, I feel like I gave you the permission, but like somewhere in the back of your head, or maybe there was a dream or something that you had at some point that was like, oh yeah, this could be possible. I could leave my career and actually do stuff I like.
Yeah, but not seriously. Like
Mhm.
at the time, like I wasn't a risk taker. I don't know if I would say that I'm a big risk taker now, but definitely more conservative when it came to money and like, yeah, my status and like what my life looked like. I kind of just followed the status quo. And I have no entrepreneurial like background. No one in my family has done entrepreneurial stuff.
Mhm.
So that part was brand new, like that someone could actually make it work and actually make a good living doing what they loved.
Yeah, and I feel like we're talking about like 2020 here. So I had quit my vet job in like late 2018, and I had just experienced so much growth and positivity, and just life opened its doors to me essentially as I was like pursuing the things that I loved. And so I was really, I mean, I am still now so adamant that like do not stay in a 9 to 5. That is killing you. Like do not stay in a 9 to 5 just because it's the safe, secure thing. Because I've said this before on this podcast, the best job security you can have is making your own money. Knowing how to, and not relying on a boss to cut your checks, right? So, I'm experiencing this for myself, and I'm just in Todd's ear, like, just quit your fucking job. Don't put up with this, Quit it. You'll be so much happier. We can hike and travel and do so much cool stuff all the time. Because also, once like elopement started ramping back up again in 2020, I was gone a lot, and I was in national parks, and I was traveling, and I was in all these cool places. And Todd was just like clocking in and out of his office.
Which
So,
sucked.
yeah. And watching my dog for me.
So, and here at this time, I have no photo experience. I think I had a point and shoot, like probably similar to you. Like
Mhm.
it was like a college toy,
Yeah.
but like shitty. It probably didn't even work at this point in time.
Yeah.
If I had it in
Mhm.
2020. So I like kind of went down this rabbit hole on YouTube of learning how to be a videographer. What's a lens? What are like focal lengths?
Yeah.
Like what's composition? All these different things.
Shutter speed, aperture, all those
And
things.
yeah, I was seeing Megan do all this cool stuff, and I wanted to tag along and actually like make money and not just be like the driver.
Mhm.
Because we did a couple of those, like I either met her or I drove for her.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. I think I booked the kind of criteria was I needed to book 3 things, which I did for like $500 each.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'd been saving a lot before I met Megan. So I had a runway. And once I booked those 3 things, it was like, okay, now we're going to it had a proven case. People wanted videography.
Mhm.
And so then I put my notice in and started 2021, joined Hazel and Lace,
Yeah.
as well as because we found that not everyone wanted video.
Mhm.
And so what was it like?
I think half the people
About half.
did,
So,
and half didn't. Yeah.
and turns out you can't really make a living shooting, being an entry level videographer on half of
Mhm.
that would have been like, I don't know, 10
15 maybe. Yeah.
elopements in the 1 year. So
Mhm.
I started my own thing with High Alpine Films, and that was also a fun adventure that I learned a lot from while shooting also with Megan for the couples that wanted video. So
Yeah, and you went all over the place. You were in demand.
yeah, at the time in 2021, there was very, very few, like only a couple of elopement videographers.
Yeah, and I feel like there's still only a handful.
There's more than there were in 2021. But yeah, a lot of people that still kind of do weddings and elopements, very few that just like do exclusively adventure elopements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we started this podcast in February 2023 after working together as a photo video duo for elopements, and my coaching business took off. So we shoot less elopements now than we used to back in the day. But also Todd, like I'm trying to think of the things that have changed in the last 2.5 years. And I would say Todd has basically started like running all the behind the scenes stuff of my coaching business, which took some time to like get there. But he's good at all the things that I'm not good at, like details, spreadsheets, following up on things.
Payments, contracts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, as Megan said, like, yeah, the coaching business grew. And so, like, being the educator is like a whole full-time job, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of fell into that admin role of doing all the behind the scenes businessy type things. While she did the marketing, was the face of the business, was the educator, did all the like forward facing things to the public, which she's good at.
Yeah. And thank God I don't have to do the things I'm not good at anymore. Because I really was not good at them at all. And people in the, in my programs are like, I need a Todd. And like, yes, everyone needs a Todd. Everyone needs a person who can do the things that you're not good at and do them well. That's the other thing too. Like you swooped in and like totally reorganized the mastermind using Airtable and like, I don't know, you've done all sorts of cool stuff. We are like literally a team. So what are some of the other things that have changed? So when we started the podcast, I think we were living in our house in Albuquerque.
Yeah, and our very first setup was jank as hell. Like it was just the microphones that I had from my video work, which were not podcast specific. They're like, it worked.
Yeah.
But we quickly found that we needed to like up our game if we wanted it to be like a serious podcast.
Yeah, and for some reason, when we started the podcast, I was really adamant about it being more generalized to like any entrepreneur or business owner. And it took a while to lean into being elopement specific, which I don't understand why that took me a while to get there because almost all of my education is elopement specific.
And that's what Megan teaches, is to like for folks to niche down.
Yeah, that's my zone of freaking genius, is helping people niche down into elopements. And then here I am like speaking to everybody instead of just elopement photographers when there's literally no other podcast for elopement photographers out there. So that took us a while.
Yeah. So
it took me a while to come to grips with that and to niche down.
Yeah. So if you go back to like the first probably like 60-ish episodes, which would have been about a year's worth. I mean, we had like interviews with some other photographers and things like that. But the first, 50 or 60 episodes were like pretty broad strokes about business, entrepreneurial stuff.
Still very applicable to elopement photographers, though.
Yeah. And like we talked about mindset stuff. So still relevant, but just very broad. And we kind of had fallen into, which I think a lot of people do when they probably get into photography. They want to do everything, right? They want to do newborns and weddings and couples and landscape, whatever it may be. And we teach that you got to niche down because the famous saying, the riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
So it took us a while to figure that out. And so, so about after, that first year, we kind of went all in on elopement photography based content for the Stoked podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great. So the other things that have changed is we moved to Taos, New Mexico, which is where I was born, where my parents and my brother live. And it's like right in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And I love it. I'm obsessed with Taos. And the fact that Todd loves Taos as well. I was like, I married a winner,
Yeah, it's the best ski resort in the state.
Yeah. Yeah, so we live like 10 minutes from Taos Ski Valley. We have mountain views. We have almost an acre of property. It's literally like our dream house. It has a lot of work that needs to be done. But we're enjoying our work. It's the dream living up here. I love being near my parents because I went to college at like 17 and I hadn't lived near them until a year ago, and at 40 or 41. So it's been a long time. And I think it's been great.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an atypical trajectory of like, going out, doing our own things, like living in new places, doing new life experiences, doing jobs and stuff. But we've kind of settled here in northern New Mexico. And it's kind of like Megan said, it's our dream house. We intend to be here for a very long time. So what's next? Yeah.
So one of my goals, I had a lot of goals for a long time. One of them was to move to Taos and have some property and stuff like that. The other goal was to foster animals. And so once we moved up here, I got involved with the local animal shelter and started fostering kittens and puppies and stuff like that. And they have since, unfortunately, kind of run out of funds and basically closed their doors essentially. But that was really great to be able to like realize that dream and kind of come full circle and be able to help animals again. But we did end up with some extra pets from that. Well, one actually, just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
We
Which
gave
was-
a couple back.
Yeah, we gave some puppies back. Yeah, that was hard, but they were fun but exhausting. I think the kittens are easier. But Beans is she just turned 1 and I had to bottle feed her. She was like 3 weeks when I fostered her. And then we have 2 other cats that just basically showed up at our doorstep. So we've gotten some more cats since we've been here, and we've gotten some chickens since we've been here. I've wanted chickens for years. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them because one of our dogs, Otto, just wanted to kill birds.
He was about 9 or 10. He lived a good life. He went on. Now we have chickens, and it's a whole different lifestyle.
Yeah. And my dog Peyton passed away. So we've had some sad things happen, and we just had to put down one of my cats, Sasha, who had lymphoma. So we've lost a lot, but we've also gained a lot. I miss all those animals very dearly. We have like a shrine to them that I'm basically looking at right now. But yeah, so we got chickens. We started with the idea of getting 4 chickens. We go to Tractor Supply. There's a 6 chick minimum. So we get 6 chicks and bring them home. Todd gets to work on the chicken coop and the chicken run, builds it out, and it's like for 10 chickens, maybe.
Maybe a dozen.
So then he goes off to California to do this rafting education thing, to be a raft guide.
Yeah. It was like 10 days, plus or minus driving, so call it 2 weeks.
Yeah, so he's like gone for 2 weeks, and like left to my own devices, I always bring more animals home. But anyway, I find out that I can order chickens online and have them shipped to me. So then I order 6 more chicks. Or no, I ordered 4. I ordered 4, so we would have 10 that would fit perfectly in this coop. And we got shipped 6. So now we have 12 chickens. And I'm just becoming this crazy chicken lady. Like, I spend all day with my chickens. So then I come up with this crazy idea that we need more chickens. So I end up getting more chickens. So now we have like 40 chickens. And Todd is a saint for putting up with me.
And we're currently working on Chicken Coop 2.0.
Yep. And we started gardening this year. We have a ton of unfinished projects just going on. But I think that's what home ownership, when you're like in the home that you know you're going to be in for a long time, I think that's just how it goes, right?
So enough about our chickens, because we can go on all day.
I will literally talk about chickens all day long.
Okay, so business-wise, so we're still operating Hazel and Lace Photography, doing exclusively adventure elopements. So we do just a handful every year. I think probably the target probably be like 5 to 6.
Yeah.
So we do that. My video business shut down a little while ago. I just figured out that I don't really like being a videographer. I like shooting, but then the whole like post-processing, editing, delivering was just also very nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing. So decided that wasn't my calling. So now I do second shooting with Megan. I don't need to be there. She knows how to do everything, but I just rock the 7200 and get all of the close-ups and stuff.
Yeah, that's been really cool though.
Yeah. But most importantly, so Megan runs her education business, which is what a lot of the stuff we talk about here on this podcast is educating elopement photographers how to run bigger, better, more efficient businesses.
More profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we only take like 5 or 6 elopements a year, and we're really picky. We're doing a lot of local New Mexico stuff this year because so much of our time and energy goes into educating our clients in our programs. I mean, I get FOMO sometimes because, like, I want to book a Dolomites elopement for $10,000 or something like that. Like, I just get FOMO over what our clients are doing. But I think the best job in the world is being an elopement photographer. I swear to God, it's the best job in the world. But the second best job in the world is helping people become elopement photographers, because I just get to live vicariously through them and see them travel and book higher price stuff and go to cool places and create these beautiful images. And it just like fills my cup so much. And if you listen to this podcast, especially if you go to some of the earlier episodes where I talk a lot about like your version of success and following your energy and creating a vision for yourself and your business, all kinds of good stuff. the episodes really kind of like point you into following the path that maybe society thinks is weird, maybe your brain's trying to talk you out of it, but so many people out there feel called to do elopement photography for so many different reasons, and I just really encourage anyone listening to pursue it with your whole heart because it's great. And if I hadn't pursued elopement photography, I would never be where I'm at now. I never would have met Todd. I would never have this house. I would be stuck working overnights, crying in bathrooms. Yes, like saving animals and stuff, but like the system was just so messed up that like I just would have been miserable forever. And I just really encourage everybody to do the thing that their heart and their intuition and their energy is leading them to do.
So we're 2.5 years in. Where are we going to go from here? So the structure is going to be pretty much the same. So weekly episodes where we talk about specific topics relevant to elopement photographers. We'll also be sprinkling in guest episodes with different elopement photographers from across the U.S.
And our topics are going to be, our topics always are inspired by what's going on with my clients, like the conversations that we're having in the Slack group or on group coaching calls and stuff like that, the things that people are kind of like struggling with or have questions about in real time. That's always been kind of like the inspiration I use. So that'll continue. And we're just going to keep giving you guys great elopement photography content because no one else is.
In the podcast medium, that is.
Yes.
But we also understand that committing like a half hour of your time to listening to these is like, that's a significant chunk of energy and your attention. So we want to make sure that it is value added into your life. So we don't take that for granted. So yeah, just know that we want to do the best we can with these podcasts, getting the good guests and continuing to grow to help you grow your business.
Yeah. And thanks for listening. And hopefully this was a fun episode. I think we had fun recording it. It was kind of nice to rehash things again. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of Stoked. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend. If you're looking for more inspiring elopement photography content, check us out on Instagram at Megan McPhail. And if you'd like to hear more about my business coaching and how I can personally help you hit 6 figures as an elopement photographer, then check out my website at www.meganmcphail.com.